It's preview time ahead of possibly the most highly anticipated summer test that I can remember. The Springboks against Ireland, the first test in the series at Loftus Versfeld at altitude this weekend. Welcome back to the channel. That's what I'm going to look ahead to in this video. Go through some of the big talking points or just the things that stand out to me when I look at this test match. What interests me now with a little over 24 hours to go until the game. But what interests you? What are the main things that you're looking out for? And how do you see this game going? Let me know in the comments section. Right now, I kind of feel like it's incredibly evenly matched. I have worry about some of the strength in depth of certain positions for Ireland. I feel like the Boks are maybe a little bit more of an all-round team, but I think it is a flip of a coin and could go either way. And this is an Ireland team that have surpassed expectations on many occasions over the last few years. So I'll get into all of that, but let me know, who do you see winning this game? How do you ultimately see it going? I think it's going to be very, very interesting indeed. The other thing that strikes me when I talk about and look ahead to this series is actually a bit of a lack of an unknown. And what I mean by that is you look at the other series happening, you look at the All Blacks against England. I think there's a lot of uncertainty about those teams. It's a new era for the All Blacks. It's an England team that is still developing, and quite how good are they? Where are they? There's question marks over them. Wallabies against Wales is absolutely chock-a-block, full of uncertainty and question marks. I mean, loads of debutants in the Wallabies team, Wales that are massively rebuilding, Scotland likewise on their tour to Canada, USA, Chile and Uruguay. There's loads of experienced players that have been left at home. It is kind of bringing new blood and rotation into the team. But the Boks against Ireland are the number 1 and number 2 ranked teams in the world. It is the world champions against the back-to-back Six Nations champions, the team that have been the best in the Northern Hemisphere over the last few years. There are just less unknowns, and that makes it so exciting because who wins ultimately? It comes down to it. There's been so much talk, there's been so much build-up and so much hype. Who's the better team? And we're going to find out over the next few weekends. And also, it's got a bit of a rivalry, this, doesn't it? I think there's a huge amount of respect there, actually, as well. I think there's a lot of respect from the Boks towards Ireland and vice versa. But there's rivalry there as well. There's been chatter amongst the coaches, there's been chatter amongst the players. This just feels massive. And what a way, by the way, for South Africa to start a new World Cup cycle. And actually that, I suppose, is the point worth mentioning, because on the back of 2019, obviously COVID happened in 2020. South Africa probably didn't get that homecoming and that moment in the way that they deserved. They will get it, and it will be in full swing this coming weekend. In terms of Ireland, though, it's history chasing for them, isn't it? I mean, this is a side that have surpassed expectations and kind of broken new ground over the last few years. If we look back to that win against New Zealand, if we look at them becoming the number 1 team in the world, we look at them winning multiple Six Nations titles, it is another chance at history, another notch and achievement in the belt of this team over the next few weekends in terms of going away to South Africa and trying to win the series. And I actually think if they were to win these 2 test matches, I think that is a hugely tall order, which they are capable of, but will be a massive, massive challenge. For me, that would actually probably surpass what they did in New Zealand a few years ago because of the quality of opposition that they're coming up against. But it's going to be a brilliant series. It's set up so nicely. In terms of Ireland and that Ireland team, I think there are a couple of really interesting bits of team selection that is worth getting into. Jamie Osborne at fullback is the one that gets all the headlines. Making his debut at altitude against the world champions in South Africa at fullback when he's mainly played at centre. He has played fullback, but he's played more centre. That is a gutsy call. Andy Farrell spoke a lot about Osborne's character. Well, he is going to need every single part of that character if he is to get the job done at fullback. Because that will be, it's almost the ultimate baptism of fire for him, isn't it? Particularly when you have, I know, Frawley or Stockdale or Lama. There are other players that have played fullback that he could have opted for just in terms of having that experience. Massive call to go with Osborne, and I'm excited to see what he does. I've enjoyed the bits that I've seen from him when he's played for Leinster. What does he do now on his international debut? And what an occasion to do it as well. The other big selection call, I think, from an Irish point of view is Craig Casey at scrum half, right? They can't replace Jameson Gibson Park because they don't have a quality of player to do that. He is a massive loss, and probably the biggest loss really for this series if we're looking at it. Because I'd love to have seen him start at 9. I think that would have just been pivotal for Ireland. It could be the difference ultimately as well. But Casey at scrum half, Conor Murray coming off the bench. There was a slight part of me that just wondered, would Andy Farrell opt for Murray and the experience to start the game? Because they have to start well. It makes sense, I think, him coming off the bench. That's been the role that Conor Murray has adopted over the last couple of years, being the backup to Gibson Park. He will again have that experience to replace Casey. But what an opportunity for Craig Casey as well, by the way. So I think those are two big positions, fullback, scrum half for Ireland, and how that goes will be fascinating. The other area that I think is worth keeping an eye on is a 5-3 bench for Ireland and a 6-2 bench split for the Springboks. It's always intriguing to see how those sorts of things develop depending on what type of game we get. And if we're talking about the bench as well, Cian Healy, look, absolute legend, unbelievable player, but that is an area where Ireland need the next generation to come through, I think. I wonder, in fact, how much game time he will be given, or actually, if Andrew Porter is going to be asked to go a full 80, potentially. Because that's in particular an area when you look at the bomb squad and the front row replacements that the Boks will be bringing on in the second half, could end up being a key area of the game. As for South Africa, I did a full video on their team selection earlier in the week. Ultimately, they're so strong, aren't they? I mean, there's strength in depth. I know they are missing players, they have injuries themselves, but it feels like they've always got this conveyor belt of players that they're able to bring into the team. I guess the only thing for South Africa, as strong a team as it is, as experienced a team as it is in terms of World Cup wins, there were a few cobwebs against Wales, which is to be expected. First game of the season, having to fly into London, I think midweek before the game on the Saturday. They've had players playing in Japan that wouldn't have played for a little while. There were various reasons for why this Springboks side would have had cobwebs. But they have to all be gone when it comes to kick-off this weekend, because for all the challenges that Ireland are faced with, I think on a pretty consistent basis under Andy Farrell, they have shown up when it matters. Even you look at the World Cup quarter-final defeat to New Zealand. Ireland still played well in that game. New Zealand were just absolutely fantastic. So I think Ireland will be there at their very, very best. South Africa have to match them. They will back themselves to be able to match them because typically it's what they do. The big occasions, this Springbok team, whether it be World Cup wins, whether it be Lions Tour wins when they're 1-0 down, have been able to show up and get the job done. So a fascinating series. I think we're going to get two great test matches. Where is it won on the weekend and who is going to win on the weekend? My gut instinct is the Boks with the home advantage at altitude. But you know what? This Ireland team, they have defied the odds on a number of occasions previously. Are they going to do it again on what would be one of and there are quite a few now, great wins under Andy Farrell for this Irish side? Can't wait for it. Let me know how you see it going in the comments. Like the video. Also, subscribe to the channel. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. It makes a massive difference to me and I really appreciate it. Enjoy the rugby this weekend. I'll do my best to get reaction videos. There's a lot going on. In fact, I've been away. Those of you that watch the channel regularly will notice the last few videos this week have been a slightly different background because I've been on holiday, so I've been trying to still get some videos for you. I will try and get them out as well following the match this weekend. Enjoy the game. See you in the next one.